Welcome everybody to another episode of the Inside Scoop, where we will be interviewing new and upcoming projects, not only built on Juno, but on the Interchain as well. I'm thrilled to have with us today Daniel from FortyTwo Money. Daniel, before we get into anything, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great, thank you. Thanks so much for having me, Highlander.
Yes, you're very welcome. You reached out. I think Jake maybe put us in touch with you. We did some looking and we had a little chat on what you were building. Maybe you can tell us on what you do in the project and what the project's doing and what you're trying to achieve. Not only in Juno, because this is a bit of a cross-chain project, isn't it?
Yeah, sure. So we've been building 42 for quite a while now. We've been building it in its current state since Cosmoverse in October last year, 2022. So about 9 months or so now. And really, 42 is an interchain app. And we took a look at Cosmos and we realized that there are all these app chains with all sorts of things happening across these app chains, but no one place where users can actually go and start interacting across these chains. So we interviewed a lot of users about what their problems were with the Cosmos ecosystem as a whole, and a lot of it was around users not understanding what's happening on different chains, as well as losing their tokens along the way, doing token transfers. So really, we built 42 as this cross-Cosmos app, which obviously the long term is to be cross-chain, across any chain. However, we've started off looking at the Cosmos tech stack, but really being this front end across the interchain. So users come to us, connect their wallets, and can very simply see their assets sitting across chains and start interacting across the interchain world as quickly and simply as possible. My position there is pretty much a founder, and I do pretty much everything on the business side, from business development to partnerships to recruiting to fundraising, etc., etc. Everything besides engineering, which I have an amazing team that takes care of.
Yeah, cool. Every project needs it, man. They need the forefront, the person of contact like yourself, and yeah, it sounds like you've got a good in-house partnership with all your developers and stuff working in the background. Touching on the cross-chain thing, so for people who are watching this channel for the first time, we have in Cosmos this protocol called IBC, which has got Cosmos pretty famous for that one reason. But yeah, I've had feedback from users across multiple chains, and the main problem we did face was we don't have this go-to place where I don't want it to go into Juno, I don't want to go into Osmosis, I don't want to then go into Kujira. I want to go in the morning, open up my web browser, and then, okay, what's happening today in my DeFi portfolio? Is this what 42 Money is trying to achieve here?
Yes,
Excellent.
that's exactly correct. So I think, like, obviously, if we look at what the future of blockchain will look like, I think it's not going to be only Ethereum as the only blockchain in, call it, 5 or 10 years time. The way that I see it is there's going to be multiple chains, and if you want to, for example, initiate a swap, that will happen for the user at the UX layer. You'll say swap token X for token Y, and then the underlying tech stack will say which blockchain is most efficient to perform the swap, and that will get done on behalf of the user. Now, we're trying to be right at the user level, and our infrastructure allows us to scale across different blockchains.
That
So
sounds
yes, that's exactly
yeah.
correct.
It sounds like it's the exactly what these people were asking about. There's a chap who we talk to frequently in one of the Telegram groups, and he said even if like Juno built this thing, a Cosmos app, it would be a game changer. So I'm excited to see what it is. Do you have anything you can show the inside scoop today, Daniel?
Yes, I do. I can show a little bit of sort of the longer term vision here, as
Yeah.
well as like
Well,
what's going live this week. So really the longer term play here is this is our website 42.money, which you can go and check out.
yeah.
And there's a whole bunch of stuff we're looking at building in the future. But the first three products are really portfolio, earn, and swap. So portfolio view, users can come in and connect one or multiple wallets, can see their
hmm
assets across chains, their assets in the apps, what's in the wallets, what's staked to different validators around different chains, and what's sitting in liquidity pools. So this is really ways of users just getting a full overview of their full portfolio. What we've built, and this is for keeping track of your tokens across an interchain world. What we've built out the most is the earn product. So here users essentially can stake into different chains across different strategies on these chains. So liquidity pools, staking to validators, interchain strategies. But high level, if a user wanted to, for example, filter for Osmo, they could filter Osmo and see all the different places in the interchain ecosystem where they could stake their Osmo token. This is all with auto compounding. Now that this is just a Figma, so this isn't live, and these figures are not correct. But a user could come in here and see the different vaults. So this would be, for example, an Atom Osmo pool on Astroport on Neutron chain. And then they could come in, deposit, withdraw, etc. We also offer staking directly to the validators with auto compounding. So if they had to come in here, they could see all the Osmo validators and stake to the validator that they'd like to stake to. And then lastly, we're working with some good partners for our interchain swaps, where users can essentially select a token, select the chain that they want to sell the token on, and what they want to receive on what chain, and then we'll show them the best route to do that.
Yeah.
So really, we're really just making the interchain ecosystem as simple as possible. Now, what's currently going live? Sorry, do you have a question there, Highlander?
Yeah, just compliments really. I love the design. The design's pretty sick. I'm intrigued of finding out how do you work out the routers? Do you know what I mean? Are you going through each chain's individual market, like AMMs, and finding the best price on there? A little bit what TFM do.
Yeah, similar to TFM, except that we're working with pretty good partnerships. So we're working with Skip as well as with Squid, and they're actually sourcing the best prices from the interchain ecosystem for us. So we're relying on their underlying infrastructure quite a lot, but we're very close with both of those teams and excited about the tech that they're delivering.
Mate, 1 second. I just need to, the wife's outside. It'll be 2 seconds. We'll pause that there for a minute. I need to drop something out to her. I'll not be a minute, mate. Oh, sorry about that, man. Right, all good.
No problem.
Where were we at?
I can share our demo or what's currently live. So this is getting into the hands of alpha users this week. So currently it is on a whitelist basis. So if anyone is interested in being whitelisted, we're only rolling this out, the whitelisting, to about 20 users. And those spots are pretty full right now, but we will have another phase soon. But you come in and once you're whitelisted, you can connect your wallet. And then we've got these vaults rolled out as sort of like our test vaults, just to get user feedback. You can come in and let's see, it wants me to connect again. But this is really just to get user feedback. We are obviously a very early stage project, but this is all just to sort of test out the product and hear what users are thinking.
Excellent. We'll be glad to share it, and we'll take part in testing this out as well if there's any slots, of course. Be happy to. And it's very simplistic in its design. Everything's right in front of you. I do see you've got Windex up there. It's a little bit of a tough market at the moment, isn't it, to be honest? We're finding it, Cosmos as a whole needs more liquidity. I'm trying to think of, we'll maybe touch on that as a couple of questions after, but it'd be good to get some of your insight on the greater Cosmos and its current situation. Anything else in terms of what you're going to be building in the future? Now, I asked you a question in a call previously. I'm going to ask this again. What you're doing here about strategies and stuff, will there be a point where you can start, like maybe not so much flash loans, right? But say you can maybe borrow or provide liquidity on Ume, and then take those tokens or lend it out to Kajira, borrow from Kajira. Is this where you're going to be going with this product as well?
Yeah, so I mean, the way that I look at it, that's stuff like, for example, Quasar or Sommelier is doing, where they are actually they've partnered with strategists to actually come in and deploy these strategies on Quasar or Sommelier. However, we look at ourselves as just an aggregator. So are we going to roll out strategies ourselves? Maybe at some point in the future. I wouldn't rule that out. However, I would say the short, medium, and even the long term, we will just be looking at these strategies which are rolled out by Quasar and Sommelier and just put them into our platform. So essentially just offering the contract endpoints where users can deposit through 42 and we'll route that into a Quasar or Sommelier strategy. Because we look at like Som and Quasar as professionals in deploying these types of strategies, whereas we look at ourselves as professionals in making the user experience as good as possible. So these strategies exist. We don't need to go and reinvent the wheel. We can just put them into our platform as an aggregator.
Sounds great. What inspired you then to, like, as you come into Cosmos and kind of went, we need this, we need a sort of one-stop shop, because it's something I've said for ages. Maybe talk about a little bit how your journey began in that respect.
So originally I was building on one of the Cosmos chains specifically, and then the team sort of took a step back and was like, well, Cosmos is an interchain world, so why are we only building on one chain when we should be looking at using the IBC as like a bridging mechanism to move tokens around an ecosystem? And once we took a step back and looked at this, we looked at how fragmented the whole ecosystem was, and we need like these types of aggregators. So I gave a talk recently at Nebula Summit in Paris on aggregation theory and interchain UX. And pretty much the way this talk, or the way that I viewed things, are what people do remains the same, only the technology changes. So people have always gone to marketplaces, for example. Like for thousands of years, people go to a marketplace and they got their tomato and they got the ham and they got the bread all next to each other. Yeah. Then came Web 2 and the internet, where marketplaces found product market fit again with things like Airbnb or Netflix, where all of your movies are on one platform. And we're just doing the exact same thing here in Web 3. There are all these chains and we just like put it all together and make it easy for users. And that's really how we're viewing this, as like from a mental model perspective.
And here comes the question, the the golden question. What's your view on the current like liquidity situation in Cosmos? Why would someone from Ethereum want to come in and use Cosmos if they think all the liquidity is on Ethereum? What is it we need to do here to try and either bridge that to us or us bridge to them? Any ideas?
So I think UX is definitely a roadblocker to liquidity in Cosmos. I think that's a definite. Without good interchain UX, there will never be a lot of liquidity. Obviously, we've seen a lot of liquidity in Osmosis or in maybe like certain chains around Cosmos, but without a good interchain UX, we'll never see like huge inflows. Now, one of the founders of Polymer, Bo, gave a talk recently and spoke about the need for different chains, essentially. And he spoke about Uber, for example, which has over 300 databases, and each database in Uber is optimized for a different functionality, as opposed to being just generalized databases, or as opposed to Uber having one generalized database for a variety of functions. So the way that he speaks about this is the reason we need multiple chains, is each chain has its own functionality. As like it's and will be optimized in different ways. So the way that I look at it is Cosmos right now, yes, doesn't have a lot of liquidity, but at some point each one of these chains, or in that analogy, each one of these databases will be optimized for something else. So maybe a user prefers execution speed, for example. Now that for a user to transact on at a very fast transaction speed, that will need to be routed to a specific chain. And in my opinion, Ethereum may not be the right place to do that. Hence, a Cosmos chain will come in handy. So the way that I look at Cosmos, to take it back to your question, is not Cosmos per se, but just an interchain world. And I think that Cosmos provides the best the best way with the Cosmos SDK to spin up your own chain for your own specific use case. So yes, maybe in this V1 of Web3, Cosmos isn't finding its product market fit, but I think down the line we will see a lot more more use cases and hence a lot more liquidity in Cosmos.
I had a chat with some of the TFM chaps, and they said Juno could potentially be one of the best places to swap tokens on because we have 5 dexes on it, albeit there ain't much liquidity, but there's still 5 dexes. There's competition to aggregate the price to a very cheap price and buy something, and very good opportunities there. You know, it's interesting to see. I never thought of it that way at all. I just thought you see bear market blues and you're just like, oh my god, it's downward pressure every day across the board everywhere. I'm just wondering, like, does that help every other chain, everyone having AMMs on each chain? I mean, how do we then compete, or how do we strive to try and, like you mentioned, each database on the Uber infrastructure has its own little job, but ain't Osmosis the DEX for Cosmos then? But Kujira's coming up and being the DEX as well, I suppose. Do we need this? Do we need something different here in Cosmos to try and attract this liquidity, or attract users, developers, get us up to the next level?
So I think that there'll still be a lot more innovation in the DEX space. Different DEXs will find product market fit for different things, and that's really how I see all the DEXs as being almost like the base in a tech stack, like the liquidity infrastructure. There's going to be multiple DEXs that all execute it for different purposes, and then on top of that comes the aggregators. So I do think that there will be multiple exchanges that are optimized for different things, and I think there will be many of them.
Awesome. Are you guys aggregating or routing NFTs as well? Once, because NFTs are going to have its day as well again in Cosmos. Stargaze is doing a great, fantastic job on there. I know Juno's will be releasing NFT marketplaces with Complay as the tech stack. Very interesting things to come up. I'm just interested to hear your opinion on NFTs, and does it work the same way with tokens? What you guys can do with the UX?
Yep,
very
exactly.
cool.
So once again, moving NFTs across chains in any ecosystem and in the Cosmos ecosystem is difficult. And once again, we want to be this like NFT aggregator across the ecosystem.
Awesome. Are you guys connecting to any other chains, other networks, I should say, not just Cosmos? Have you got anything in place for like Ethereum or any of the other L2s, roll-ups on Ethereum world?
Yeah, so right now it's focus on IBC chains.
Yeah.
But for sure down the line, I think it would be silly of us to rule out integrating with Ethereum. I think we would obviously need to do that. So we're looking at Celestia. We're looking at which is obviously an IBC chain. Yeah. And then down the line, Ethereum, Solana. Pretty much, we'd like to just integrate it. We see ourselves as an interchain play that's starting with Cosmos chains.
Yeah, of course, I get that. The reason I asked it was because that could be the dam breaker, so to speak. You know, you've got a brilliant UX there, and no one really cares. I'll be honest, right? No one really cares about what's in the background. They just want, you know what I mean? They just want, like, I just want to get up in the morning and place my bids, do my swaps. I don't care if it's Ethereum in the back end. I don't care if it's Juno. I don't care if it's Kujira. I don't care what's going on. I don't even care if it's blockchain. Do you know what I mean? Some people are like that. If you want to onboard the next wave of interested liquidity into this world, then yeah, I think UX is what you've built here is definitely the way forward. So yeah, I appreciate you obviously coming on and just chatting to us a little bit about it. What's your experience dealing with Juno so far? Have you had any problems integrating onto our chain? Is there anything you want to talk about on that respect?
Yeah, I mean, so far it's been amazing working with Juno. I know Jake and the team personally. And yeah, it's been an amazing experience. Juno, I think, was the first chain we integrated with. And yeah, super simple, good communications all around. I mean, we're pretty positive on Juno. So, Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
I also know the Windex guys and them pretty well too. So, yeah.
Well, Windex, Windex are brilliant. We would never have got gauges if it wasn't for Windex. Do you know what I mean? Those gauging things could be total revolutionary in terms of governance. Like, for example, having to put on chain each parameter change for something on a blockchain can be quite, very frustrating. But you could do voted weighted gauges to deal with all this kind of like parameter changes on chain. These guys have built out some cracking stuff, and I know like the DEX world is not done great, but it's a bear market. But out of like supporting Wind, we've got these cool tools to take forward and flourish more projects with, So it's very exciting. I'm positive for the future on Juno. That's why I'm around.
Yeah, I mean the Windex guys, Ethan and team.
Yeah.
I mean they built Cosmosm and are obviously fantastic engineers, and as you say, there's right now. Things are tough. It's a bear market, but there's like the Windex guys are innovating. People are innovating in the space, and that's what we need. We need all this innovation happening during the bear market for when things do come around. We've got all this infrastructure in place, all this new infrastructure.
Have you heard about Cosmosm modules yet?
So I mean, if I understand what you're referring to, we're working with the team Abstract.money, who have modular smart contracts built in Cosmosm.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, they've allowed us to scale across chains very nicely.
I love those guys, man. They're absolutely brilliant. So as I say, we're super excited. We're here. We've got all this amazing tooling and stuff like that, and what else can we do, man? We just need to, like you say, keep the infrastructure. Juno is pushing the boundaries. I'll be honest with you, we're always first to kind of ship anything Cosmosm feature-esque. It's always there, It's a good chain. I like the idea of the incubation sort of side of it. You come on to Juno, get your project market fit here. If the application or the de-application you build outgrows Juno, fine, move on, do your own thing, but kind of give back to Juno as well with the power of mesh security if it comes out, so you can start to see all these little things coming together. I think maybe 1, 2, 3 years down the line, which is good stuff. And hopefully now we have a wonderful UX here in FortyTwo Money that makes it all easier for the average user just to come on and get used to these tools. They might not understand what they're doing in the background, but that's the whole point of it, We've built these things to make it all possible. So, is there anything you'd like to add on at the end, Daniel? Anything I might have missed?
Yeah, I mean, I think the way the FortyTwo team is building, I think two of our core values is firstly simplicity. Let's make things as simple as possible for users. And second term is long-term thinking. It's like we're building this now to find APYs across validators or DEXs, but maybe in the next 5 to 10 years, there's all sorts of banks implementing DeFi products. And it's like, then how do we start giving users access to those types of yields that are potentially more... I don't know, maybe there's a more regulated environment where we need to adapt to, but I think that's the one thing FortyTwo is always looking at, is like, where are things going in the long term? Like, let's try add value to users now, but also have an eye on the long term of where this is all going.
I mean, commodities, man. I don't know, like, Comdex have been trying... Comdex was built on the idea of commodities, and I thought after the regulation thing with the XRP sort of coming out on top in America, I thought, well, this is it, just go for it then, start doing commodities. But again, it's still not. I don't know if you've got your eye on that, because if you look at the market cap in commodities in the world, man, my God, it's huge. Like, you know what I mean? Having a UX to sort of take someone from that world, some of that financial background, and sort of wire them into crypto this way, wow, it's a game changer. It really is. It really is.
Yeah, I think that's one of the theoretically one of the obvious use cases of crypto that hasn't been executed on properly yet. So I completely agree. It's something we're thinking about too.
Good to know, mate. Where can we find you, pal? Twitter, Discord, anywhere? We'll obviously add the description down below of where we can get stuff, and if anybody's interested in whitelisting, we can add that in as well.
Sure. Yeah, I think probably the best starting points are Twitter, which is @FortyTwo_Money. Otherwise, check out our website, which is FortyTwo.Money, or you can find me on Twitter, Daniel_42. And 42 spelled out FortyTwo.
Got you, mate. We'll add that in the description below, everybody. We'd like to thank the community, and if there's anyone else outside of Juno watching, we appreciate it. We've got some cracking stuff being built here in the Interchain. Happy to cover it. Thank you, Daniel, for the time. I know we cut it a bit short today, but we want to try and get this turned over for you and try and get it out as soon as possible. We're really excited to share this one. Appreciate your time, mate. Thank you.
Cool. Yeah.
Goodbye,
Thanks
everybody.
so much, Highlander.
You're welcome, man. We'll see you next time. Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye.